Hello, I'm Mark Crutcher, and welcome to LifeTalk for May 30th, 2017.
Yes.
I'm Mark Crutcher.
And I'm Renee Hobbs. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you all had a great Memorial weekend.
Yes, I do too. We got some things to bring you up to date on as far as personal things around here. First off, you notice my trusty companion over here looks like a lobster.
I'm a little burnt.
Because she went out camping, of all things.
Again.
With your family and your husband.
Yeah, my whole family. My oldest was able to come this go round, and it was a joy. We had fun.
No, it wasn't. You were camping.
Tim got to have a little bit of bonding time with his boys, and me and Keely stayed back at the camper and talked. So we had a good time.
No, you didn't. You were camping. You cannot have a good time and be camping.
Listen, when you're in an RV and your bed is more comfortable in the RV than in your house, then you're camping in luxury.
No, I'm telling you, I don't get it. I don't get the whole camping thing.
Well, let's talk about you.
Well, I worked all this weekend.
Yes.
And every day, so I was out here on the job.
Right.
But
as normal.
As usual. We had a little blessed event here this weekend.
Yes, we did. Very exciting.
We have a young lady who works for us named Dana, and
she does our social media postings.
Yep, and she was expecting, but she wasn't expecting this weekend.
No, she still had about a month to go, and she delivered Sunday at 10:14 or something like that. A little boy named Jack.
Yep.
And he's an adorable little boy.
He's healthy.
He's healthy. I got to meet him. He was 6 pounds. At 4 weeks early, he was still a little over 6 pounds. So
he was bigger than my daughter Sheila. She was only 5.5 pounds when she was born.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're doing fine. The mother and the baby are both doing fine. As a matter of fact, they're going to come here this afternoon. As soon as we get done here, we probably will be seeing them. So
out of the hospital, they're going to come visit.
So that was a blessed event. It was really exciting to hear that happening. Anyway,
Dana says I had a good time this weekend too. I'm sure you did, Dana.
Right. Oh, she's watching.
She's watching us.
Okay, good. Anyway, as you know, my least favorite institution in America, right above the abortion industry. The abortion industry obviously is the worst, but is the media. And I still say that one of the nicest things that's happened as a result of the election of Donald Trump, no matter what you think about him or his positions or whatever, the American media has been exposed.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Everybody sees. When you have polls taken even of pro-abortion, pro-Clinton, pro-Obama Democrats who say, yes, the American media is biased toward the liberals and the Democrats.
Right.
And there are polls out there now showing that. When you have that, I mean, it's obvious.
Well, and I hate to get into this. What we do is very controversial, so it really doesn't matter.
Right.
But when Obama is caught spying on everybody in America and the media does not say one thing about it, but Trump and the whole Russia ordeal, and it's just huge.
And we don't even know yet that there is an ordeal.
If that's if
it's even a thing
true.
or not.
Yeah.
So they don't have any evidence yet of any wrongdoing. But anyway, the American media is a joke, and I think we all now understand that. When I wrote Firestorm, I referred to it here every once in a while back in the 80s. I said then that American journalism is dead. It does not exist. And of course, this is back before the Soviet Union collapsed, and you had Pravda and the Soviet-controlled media in the Soviet Union. They weren't even any worse than the American media. Not one bit worse. You're as likely to get the truth out of Pravda as you are the New York Times. And the fact is, you're not likely to get the truth out of either one of them. But anyway, a couple of things have happened in the last couple of days to reinforce this. One to do with abortion and one not. You know who Bob Beckel is. He was the liberal, that's kind of the foil on all the Fox News talk shows and so forth. Kind of an overweight guy that he was a campaign manager for Walter Mondale back when Mondale ran against Reagan. And he's a lefty, liberal Democrat. And he's been, like I said, kind of the foil. He's kind of the token liberal on a lot of Fox News stations. Some Fox News shows. Well, believe it or not, the other day, he was fired. And he was fired because he had some kind of problem, apparently, with his computer at his office. And he called the Fox IT department. They sent a guy there to work on it. And the guy that they sent happened to be black. And Beckel didn't like this. And he said something. They don't say in the article here that I read about it. They don't say what he said, but he said something very disparaging about blacks in general and about this guy in particular. And Fox fired him for that. All right, that's probably what should have happened. But here's what my question when I brought it up to you. You didn't even know about it.
No, I didn't.
Had Bob Beckel been a conservative or a Republican, this would have been front page news.
Absolutely.
And we'd all know every single thing that Beckel had said. We'd know it verbatim. We'd have video of it.
Right.
There would be calls for him to be drawn and quartered. There would be calls for Fox News to pay reparations or something. There'd be some kind of nonsense out here about Fox News.
They would be running around with their head on fire,
right,
trying to figure out what to do.
What to do next, right. And there would have been calls for people to boycott their sponsors and all these other sort of things. And yet, when this happened, I'll just use the Dallas Morning News, for example. This is the Dallas Morning News report of it. It was placed, now this would have been front page below the fold if it had been anybody else, if it had been a conservative or a Republican. What if it had been a member of the Trump campaign?
Oh, yeah, front page.
There would have been a call for a congressional investigation.
Yeah.
The ultra left, the godless left in this country, would have been demanding a congressional investigation into Fox and all their people. This is the Dallas Morning News. The day after this happened, they didn't put it on the front page of the front section of the newspaper. They didn't even put it in the front section of the newspaper. They put it in the business section on page 2, a little one-column deal about 4 inches long, and that's it. And Bob Beckel disappeared off the face of the earth, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. Yep, no big deal. Nobody knows
Nobody
about it
knows
still.
about it.
Yep.
I'm going to bet you that 75% of the people that are watching this didn't know that Bob Beckel had been fired from Fox.
Now it'd be interesting to see what they have to say.
Right.
And hey, Bruce, how are you?
Who's Bruce?
He's somebody that said hi. He's actually a friend of mine on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yep. Great. Well, anyway, now we have this past weekend a story that was picked up by the Dallas Morning News. I'm sure it was picked up by newspapers all over the country. And they titled it, Faking a Stand, Susan B. Anthony. Now, as we all know, you can go back and find the quotes. Susan B. Anthony was radically opposed to the legalization of abortion.
Yes, she was.
Radically opposed.
I think almost all of the second wave feminists were. It was the new wave feminists right after them that was for abortion.
Right, it was the second wave that was for it. The first wave was opposed.
Okay.
Yeah, right. The second wave was opposed. Was for it. They sold their souls. But the early feminists, whether you're talking about Susan B. Anthony or Elizabeth Cady Stanton or Virginia Woodhull, any of them, they were all hardcore pro-abortion, pro-life, because they saw that abortion profits sexually irresponsible and sexually predatory males.
Yes.
You and I did a report on how abortion plays out in the real world, and this has been documented. Abortion is something that favors sexually predatory males, and when they don't get their way, they very often kill these women or put them in nursing homes, and we did a whole report on that.
Yes, we did.
People can go on prolifeamerica.com and read it.
Right.
Now, this article is put out, carried nationwide from what I understand, full page, not just a little small article, a full page.
Well, and it's smeared all over Facebook too, that article.
And basically what this article does is, in order to say that Susan B. Anthony was not pro-life, they redefine what pro-life means and then say she didn't meet that definition, so therefore she's not pro-life.
Right.
They suggest that in order to be pro-life, that means you're a conservative, that means you're a Republican, you're white, Southern, male, all these other things.
Right.
And Susan B. Anthony didn't favor those things, so therefore she wasn't pro-life. She wasn't opposed to abortion. It is the most dishonest example of, if you want to call it journalism or whatever you want to call this nonsense, it's pure garbage is what it is.
Fake news.
It's fake news.
Yeah.
It fits that definition. Now, what's interesting about this, you say, well, it's basically a commentary piece and people can comment any way they want to. The woman who wrote it is Ruth Graham, and she's with Slate which is a ultra-left, hardcore,
yes.
pro-abortion website.
Very much so.
She's an ultra-left, hardcore, godless pro-abort.
Right.
Right?
She is trying to twist it, and she wants people to think that Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton were pro-aborts, and it's just not true. It's not true at all.
It's a disgrace.
Right.
But Gordon and Slate are welcome to print anything they want to print. But let me tell you something that, first off, they make a lot of statements in here that there's no backup for. The media didn't require that they back it up before they print it. The other thing the media didn't do, Dallas Morning News, and I assume every other newspaper in the country that carried this, they didn't mention Ruth Graham or Slate's position on abortion. They didn't say, you have to take this with a grain of salt because it was written by somebody who's got a vested political interest in the deal.
Yes.
That's got a position on it. And it is just absolutely the most
dishonest,
wretched piece of yellow journalism that I've seen recently. This is even below the standards, if it's possible, of these godless pro-aborts at Slate, of this woman, Ruth Graham, and of the newspapers that carried it without explaining all this.
Right. And we all need to call her out on it.
It's just, I don't even know how, it's one of those things you don't even know how to respond to. It's so outrageous.
Right. But we're here to
talk
about it.
At least ring the bell. But if you go back and you look at the statements that all these people made, and they didn't belong to the pro-life movement because it didn't exist at that time. But to suggest then that means they weren't opposed to the legalization of abortion, it's just an out-and-out, bald-faced lie. And that's what these people did. And it's just another example of the fact that the American media now doesn't exist. It's a complete joke.
Right.
And the problem is it's a joke without a funny punchline. Because I will still tell you, I'll say this till the day that I croak. One day, America is not going to last forever. One day it's going to collapse. And we can argue about how close we are to that. Some of us think we're real close to it, given the things that are going on in this culture. But when it does, whether it's next week or next year or 10,000 years from now, whenever it collapses, someday somebody's going to come back and write, like they did of the Roman Empire, say, the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. They're going to say the rise and fall of the American Empire. If they're honest about what they evaluate was the cause of the collapse of the American system, it will be the media will be the primary reason, and in my view, liberal federal judges. We are seeing right now in America our system of government absolutely taken over by liberal federal judges. The founding fathers of this country, if you could bring them forward and let them see what liberal federal judges are doing in this country right now, I think our founding fathers would have said, wait a minute, we're out. We're not going to give up our treasure and our lives to create a country that's going to come to this. Our government is being,
overtaken.
A couple of weeks ago, all the godless left came out here and talking about how Trump was trying to create a coup of the American government, which is really bizarre. People that are in power don't create coups. They don't even know what the word means. But there was certainly no coup by the people who are already in power. That can't happen. But I'm telling you, who is enacting a coup in this country is these federal judges. They are out of control, and our system of government was never intended to be run this way. So I think it would be, when you look at the media and you look at the federal judges, I think those will be the two entities that will destroy this country. If and when it's destroyed, those will be the ones that destroy it, is the media and the federal judiciary. How close we are to that, I don't know.
Besides the Antichrist, right?
Well, yeah, if he comes before the country collapses, it depends on which sequence all this happens in. By the way, before we leave, I didn't mention this to you before. You can walk through basically any mall in the country, and you see people wearing some outrageous clothing and some outrageous T-shirts and sayings on them and so forth. And I'm not going to tell you one of those. You see some of these sometimes that are so sexually explicit, you can't even talk about them.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a Planned Parenthood fundraiser the other day, and on my way home, I'm not sure if this girl was going to that, but, there was a lot of pink hair and a lot of pink clothes.
What clothes there were?
She had on a little bitty short shirt, skin tight, see-through, and I could see her chest. It was awful.
This weekend, I saw a guy out at the Denton Mall wearing a shirt that said, "When Jesus comes back, we're going to kill him again." You know what? If you're wearing that shirt, you better be right about what you're saying.
That makes that, oh my gosh, that's a stab in the heart.
When Jesus comes back, we're going to kill him again. That's what they're saying. If you're going to take that position, like I said, you better be right. You better not say something like that and turn out to be wrong.
I know we're all going to go to the judgment seat and be judged, but oh my gosh, that's blasphemy.
Yeah, it is pretty awful.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, that's all the time we have for this edition. You got anything else?
No, just if you have any comments or questions, suggestions, let us know. We would love to hear what you guys have to say.
That's right. That's right. Until next time, remember, Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight. We're here to win, because winning is how this killing will stop. We'll see you next time.